At 9:31 a.m. IST today, Indian exporters received a massive blow from a country that once called itself India's friend, the United States. The Trump administration has imposed a 50% tariff on Indian exports in total. 25% started on August 7 and the additional 25% just kicked in today. Now, this move is a direct response to India's oil trade with Russia, with the US accusing India of fueling the Russian war machine. This shockwave hits Indian exporters hard. So which goods and services will suffer the most, and why is India standing firm, refusing to bow down to these aggressive tariffs like the other countries did, and what's fueling India's confidence? Let's decode in this video. Trump's tariffs mainly target low-margin, labor-intensive sectors, things like apparel, textiles, gems and jewelry, shrimp, carpet, and furniture. Now, these products will become more expensive in the US market, risking a big drop in demand. Here's a quick snapshot of India's exports to the US in these sectors in 2024 to 25. Textile and apparel at $10.9 billion, diamonds, gold and jewelry at $10 billion, machinery and mechanical appliances at $6.7 billion, agriculture, meat and processed food at $6 billion, organic chemicals at $2.7 billion, shrimp at $2.4 billion, handicrafts at $1.6 billion, carpets at $1.2 billion, leather and footwear at $1.2 billion, furniture, bedding and mattresses at $1.1 billion. Interestingly, products like pharmaceuticals, electronics, petroleum products, yes, petroleum products ironically, and key metals like steel, aluminium and copper are exempt from these tariffs, though earlier tariffs still apply. So these exemptions are basically on goods that US needs the most. Competitors like Vietnam, Bangladesh, Cambodia, China and even Pakistan are facing low tariffs, putting India at a disadvantage in the US market. The US accounts for roughly 20% of India's merchandise exports and about 2% of its GDP. According to a GTRI report, India's exports to the US could shrink from $86.5 billion last year to just $49 billion by FY26. This could drag down India's GDP growth from a projected 6.5% to 5.6%. But here's the silver lining. The same report predicts India's overall exports, goods and services will still grow to nearly $840 billion by FY26. Services exports are expected to jump by 10% and non-US goods exports by 5%. So why isn't New Delhi bowing down like other countries did? What fuels India's confidence? Reports suggest that Prime Minister Modi refused multiple calls from Trump recently, signaling India won't be pressured. It's from a report by a German newspaper FAZ and Japan's Nikkei Asia. We have not independently confirmed it, but what we know is Modi does not want to compromise. Here's what he said recently.
किसान हो, पशुपालक हो, हर किसी के लिए मैं आपको बार बार वादा करता हूं, मोदी के लिए आपके हित सर्वोपरि है। मेरी सरकार लघु उद्यमियों का, किसानों का, पशुपालकों का कभी भी अहित नहीं होने देंगी। हमें जीवन के अंदर एक मंत्र बनाना है। हम जो भी खरीदेंगे वो मेड इन इंडिया होगा।
So Modi himself urged Indians to support domestic goods this festive season, sparking boycotts of American products, and this is no small deal. US brands like Meta's WhatsApp, Domino's, Coca-Cola, PepsiCo and Apple have a huge footprint in India, but rising buy local, ditch American sentiment is growing fast. India's defiance isn't just a bravado, it is backed by solid economic fundamentals. Number one, macroeconomic stability. India's growth story remains strong. S&P Global recently upgraded India's sovereign rating to BBB with a stable outlook, the first time in 18 years, citing robust growth, fiscal discipline, and effective monetary policy. India is set to be the fastest growing major economy globally still, with manageable debt, strong foreign reserves, and controlled current account deficit, shielding it from the shocks externally. Domestic consumption is second. Over 60% of India's GDP is driven by domestic demand, not exports. This cushions India against external trade shocks better than any other Asian countries. Number three, policy reforms. India is actively rolling out tax reforms, including restructuring the GST into a two-tier system with lower tax rates on household goods. SBI research estimates that these reforms could boost consumption by nearly 2 lakh crore rupees, roughly 1.6% of the GDP, effectively offsetting losses from US tariffs. 4. Opportunity in crisis. India is using this adversity as a springboard for deeper reforms rather than backing down. Modi has promised next generation reforms to further boost the economy. Number 5, diversification of trade. India is reducing its dependence on the US by boosting ties with other major markets. It's advancing free trade talks with EU and Russia, has signed a deal with the UK and might be exploring untapped export potential with China, which could be worth $161 billion, almost 10 times current exports. As per reports, India is also requesting UK to fast forward approval of CETA, which was signed in July 2025. Now, Modi's upcoming visits to Japan and China could be a part of this strategy to stabilize and diversify trade relationships. The US may want a quick deal, but India's stance is firm. Engagement on its own terms. Trump's tariffs are unjustified just to pressure Russia, or maybe Trump wants New Delhi to nominate him for the Nobel Peace Prize. Well, he, in his imagination at least, has used trade to avoid a nuclear war between India and Pakistan. Or maybe he wants India to open up the agriculture and dairy sectors. India isn't bowing though. If anything, it looks like Trump, not India, is desperate for a deal. So while Indian exporters face tough times ahead, the country's confidence is built on strong domestic economy, smart reforms, and clear vision to diversify trade. India's response to Trump's tariffs isn't just about standing up to the pressure. It's about turning adversity into opportunity and ensuring that the nation's growth story continues on its own terms. For more such news and views, keep watching ET Now.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.